Hey there, and welcome to the Seeds of Transformation podcast with Dr. Allma Johnson. I'm your host, Dr. Allma, and today's topic, Bridging the Gap, a history of disconnect. We are going to begin our conversations with the founders of Relentless in Las Vegas, Nevada, Daryll and Nancy Swanson. We're going to begin our conversation pulling back the layers of disconnect that is often found in our families and our communities. Listen, I'm so excited that you are here today because who hasn't asked the question, why me? Or even greater, why us within our families? This is our primary discussion for today. So let's get into it, y'all, and find out even greater why two is better than one. Let's do it, y'all.
Well, we came up with a ministry that we're doing, and it's Relentless. It came to us during a time where the pandemic, when it was just really, really difficult. And unfortunately, when you're going through hard times, I think a lot of things from our past surface. I think we deal with a lot of things that we might not think of when we're busy and we're doing things. When before pandemic came, everybody was pretty healthy and working, and there was no question on what could happen. And we really didn't know how sick we would be with the whole coronavirus and things like that.
So in my case, I know that especially in the Black and Brown communities, we don't speak about a lot of the things that we carry on, such as trauma. Certain situations happen in my life at that time that really, like, I want to say that overnight, things from my past began to surface, and I didn't know what was happening. I really didn't understand what was happening. Certain memories that my brain would connect with the present situations that I was facing, and I truly didn't understand what was happening to me, right? And I went on for a while, first experiencing my first instances of panic attacks. I didn't know what panic was. I didn't know what anxiety was. I mean, I do have a mental health background, but again, one thing is having that knowledge, and another one is becoming a patient yourself, right? I woke up one day and the right side of my body was paralyzed. And so that really triggered me. And I was really afraid that day. I mean, I ended up in the hospital. So it was a process of recovering. They did tell me I was severely stressed. So that, I know my husband always says, always use the word relentless, right? And that's somebody who doesn't give up. And so he has always spoken that into our lives, into our families, saying that we do not give up. We continue to persevere. We're going to be strong and mighty in the Lord because he has plans for our lives. And it was so challenging that one day he says, we're gonna get through this, Nancy. I know that you might not think about it, you might not believe it, but we're going to get through this. And the Lord began to speak to me right as I become to get more stable in the process. And so it's like, I cannot do this by myself, and I need a community. And not only for myself, but after going through this process, I knew how important this was, not only for myself but for other people like myself, to be able to understand that they're not alone. That there's resources. And this is how we began Relentless, two are better than one. And again, inspired in the book of Ecclesiastes, to bring awareness about mental and physical health, right? And to understand that healing is possible, recovery is possible with the help of God, with the help of professionals, that will require collaboration from the community and our spiritual community as well, to help us into that road. And even since 2011, my husband and I, we have been providing care packages for single mothers, people who have been sick, people who were battling mental illness. And so now this became really more of our mission, based on our own experiences, to really bring this together, and to, along with the awareness, to continue to provide those services on an emergency basis, right? We understand that there's community groups here, local, that provide those, but there's times where people need help right now. And so we have to look into those areas and say, okay, well, we can give you a care package. Maybe it's just a dinner for one night, right? For you and your family. And then here is a resource guide so that you can call tomorrow and give you more resources for other community partners that can help you with that, right? And so, and this is where I came into contact with another amazing organization that really has helped us a lot into this. And this is Solutions of Change, who is a local organization here who provides services for uninsured, underinsured, and undocumented. So provide services, counseling services. It was just orchestrated for us. We were able to really talk about mental health. We were able to talk about the faith-based community and how important it is for us to address these issues of concern that happen to all of us. I mean, we all have mental health. We all go through situation. And just as you were talking about this disconnect, right? So there's this connect that we have with our own bodies, our minds, our spirit, and just bringing that awareness, those topics. And so giving that shout out to the CEO, my friend and amazing individual. Her name is Denisha Mingo, who is the founder of Solutions of Change and Mingo Health Solutions. And she has been doing an amazing job with the community. God has given her the vision to be able to bring the awareness, and attending that workshop and that conference really, really fuel us. And it was like, I share with her sometimes when I have this conversation, I felt like Mary and Elizabeth, when they were together, and I felt like my baby was dead. And when I saw her, my baby leaped in my womb, and it was that calling to persevere and to bring the awareness. So I say, you resurrected my baby. And ever since, we have been working together. We do a lot of collaborations. And so I'm just really grateful that organizations like that are here. And that leads into the topic and the conversation for today about the disconnect, right? Closing those gaps that we don't often talk about, the trauma in our community, right? Of again, relentless. We do not give up. We persevere, and two are better than one, recognizing that we can't do things on our own and we need help. It is okay to reach out for help. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay to recognize that we're facing a challenge, and that although there's a stigma connected with those challenges, we are human beings first and foremost, and we can get through that. So I want to, of course, give my husband thanks for helping us through this journey, right? I know that he's been very patient with me as we continue to go through this journey, the physical challenges, the emotional challenges, and again, him really representing the word relentless and how he embodying it in our family and saying, you know what, we're gonna get through everything.
Well, me adding to what Nancy went through, I thought it was amazing that this group Relentless was being built on her being in pain, her going through this hard time. Instead of sitting there and giving up, like you say, Relentless is keep on moving and keep on doing. And that's exactly what she did. My wife was, before she got sick, she was in every ministry and did everything with the church and with the community and different things. And it slowed her up, but I just told her who you really are. And God wanted more for you, and he wasn't going to let you just sit there and be sick and be taken out. The devil is a liar, and we're not going to let him dictate where we're going to be. And we're going to do what we can in the community and help as much as we can. But what I've been through myself is I grew up with a father that was from 1930. So I grew up with a father that had really old ideas and how things were. It was the old way of correcting. We grew up on a bad side of Chicago, and it's just growing up with have so many rules. I think it's not bad to have rules, but I think in this case, it was, if anybody ever knows out there, it's the old school way, where it was hit before you got a chance to explain what happened.
Yes.
That was very old. He didn't have a good example. His dad was like that too, and he taught me that you're respectful, and he taught me the good things. But when he corrected, and it's hard to get rid of that it's like a curse that brought to my family when I first
Wow.
had a child. And it was unfortunate because I didn't know any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize the damage that you're doing until people start walking away from you. My own children not wanting to talk to you as they grow older. And I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I got a counselor and that everybody just pointed it out. Hey, you're a little bit rough. Your way of thinking, like I didn't break the curse that was like generational curse that they put on me. I didn't even see what I was doing. Getting into Relentless and doing community work and helping other people that are in need, it made me think. It made me really understand that it wasn't my dad's fault. It's what he was taught. And what you were saying, and one of the questions is like, how did you like regain that relationship? So me and my dad at like 79 years old, we started to get close because at 17 years old, I was kicked out of my house.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just didn't agree on something very small, and that's the way he was. It was just like, I don't want to see you here tomorrow. So I don't care how you have to do it. You need to get out of here. And I did it.
Wow.
And I left not knowing how difficult a high school student was going to be able to go to school, go to full-time school and work full-time and pay for some kind of apartment. And it was a rude awakening for me. So now I was angry a little bit, but then I thought about it. I was like, he really was teaching me while he was angry with me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, hey, he talked about this. He said it wasn't going to be easy, and this is the way he told me to do things. And I actually remembered things he was saying, even though it was kind of a punishment. I remembered what he told me to do, how to wash my own clothes, how to do my own things. And he gave me the tools. I just didn't realize it. I was stubborn as a young child.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got into his 70s, we started talking more. By the time he got to like 78, 79, he regularly called me and was like, hey, let's go and talk and do things. And we started bonding like we should have done when I was a child.
Right.
I guess I've always wanted to have a relationship that we were just in peace, because we were always yelling at each other. And my mom is very difficult too. She's an Asian descent. So very strict. It's my way. Even if you're wrong, it's my way, and there's no other way. And even in me and my wife's marriage in the beginning, it caused a lot of discomfort because my mom had it her way. She didn't want to let me go as her son to have another woman take care of me and stuff. So it was a very difficult way of living. But even though I realized that it was difficult as a child, as I got older, I got that time back somehow. Even though it was like from 78 to my dad passed at almost 87, I spent so much time.
Mm-hmm.
God gave me that. He gave me that time before he even got sick. We would go out all the time, maybe 3-4 times a week. Sometimes we'd go out and just get a burger or get a coffee and just talk. Yeah. And he was trying to teach me stuff, how to be a good husband and a better dad he started teaching me all these things. He's like, I messed up. He started telling me, like, taking back all the stuff that it happened onto me. He's like, I realize that now as I see you teach your kids, because he didn't have God in his life. Mm. He saw a big difference in me as I started becoming Christian, that I was a lot different than I was when I was in their household, because we didn't have a faith base. Mm. So, because my parents are both different. I'm not sure what he was, but my mom was Catholic. Mm-hmm. So, but they were both not like readers and avid faith, like believing in the Lord and teaching us things like that. It's like we're one of those families that had a Bible that was collecting dust. Like it was a decoration, and we never opened it. Like we didn't even know and never asked questions, because my mom probably didn't know about it. And she didn't want to be questioned about it. But like I said, as my father got older, it got to a point where he even got a job at my job just to spend time with me. And 80 years old, from 80 to 86, he worked with me as a cleaning person in the casino I worked at, just to spend time with me.
Wow.
Just to make up the time that we lost. And it was very, very difficult. But he was the one in my life that always told me that it's not over till it's over. It was for me, it was a good time. And then becoming a Christian and wanting to learn, I was hungry. I thought it was going to be really hard for me when he passed. It was difficult. I mean, I cried more than I ever thought I would cry at his funeral, but I was at peace the day he passed. I felt like he had received the Lord, because me and my wife prayed for him, and he was like all aboard. He was like, yeah, he was able to pray with us and accept Christ in his life, and he had this peace of like, I'm going to be okay. And that's why I knew that the Lord was like, he was affirming the belief, and like, I could never lose that belief because of what he got me through. He wasn't even scared. He was just like, he was still joking at his last moment before he passed. And he said, I'm just proud of what you are doing.
Wow.
Just keep making the change. He told me, make the change, and don't continue what me and my father did. And it's really difficult to swallow that, because I was already following what I didn't know what to do, because there's no training. My wife being in mental health, there's a lot of terms and a lot of things, and I just never knew that I fell in any of those, because when you're not aware and you don't understand what you're doing, it's a curse, because you're hurting people that you love, and you don't really know that you're doing it. You think you're just doing what you're supposed to. Father's supposed to be tough. Father's supposed to put the rule and keep order in his children, and make tough decisions in the household. But unfortunately, sometimes as men, we're just as flawed as any other man, or any woman, any human being in this world, and we make decisions that, or we just say things that we really don't have all the facts on. But I think this group together, me and my wife, have really been able to, okay, whatever she's dealing with, I understand a little bit more. And then I'll say something and I'm like, oh yeah, really, that was not a good thing to say, because I'm not going through what she's going through, and she's not going through what I'm going through. I have ADHD really bad. I forget big chunks of information, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to be on drugs that make you not aware and addicted, and I'm not into that, and I'm trying to do it the best I can. But with that kind of mind, it's really hard to be with somebody. I commend my wife and give her a lot of credit for being with someone that it's difficult to be with someone like me. It's difficult me listening to myself, dealing with what I forget on a daily basis. But it's worked, and we've been able to talk more since we started Relentless.
Wow, this is awesome. I'm brought to tears. And it is so amazing how God, even with this topic, this title that he had given me, I said, okay, Lord, what does this mean? And then for us meeting the way we met, and just to hear a snippet, and then to hear more of your journeys now, I can see the connection. So interesting, a history of disconnect, and now we're connected. Because I can definitely relate to you, Nancy, with the health concerns. Being a type 1 diabetic for 31 years, not having any issues until 2015, 2016, told I was going to have to start dialysis. My doctor took me off from work. Then grateful, since 2018 and beyond, still now, excuse me, in receiving a life-changing surgery, kidney and pancreas simultaneously. And then with your father, Daryll, not knowing my dad for, excuse me, 27 years. Then also during the time of the pandemic, when you guys said Relentless began, we had shared this together too, Daryll, that some of the things that you had found out about your dad and didn't know. And then with my dad, I'm thinking, because even with the Father's Day cards, the birthday cards, all these different things that I had sent him, he would never respond. But when I was going through his house, cleaning things out, I found every birthday card, every Father's Day card, every Christmas card. And I'm thinking to myself, he just didn't know how to share. And it sounded like what your father was doing. He just didn't know how to do it.
We found everything, all the gifts, all the little, a big thing with me, growing up in Chicago, we had a lot of garage sales, and I would scrounge up cans and stuff to get coins, and I'd go to these stores or these people's houses and bargaining, and I thought it was a good gift, but I was buying my dad and mom gifts, and I knew my mom was not a very sentimental. She wouldn't keep things, but I didn't realize how much stuff my dad kept. And going through his drawers and stuff with my mom was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
Like he kept ornaments, he kept even presents that I was like, "Wow, I gave that to him." I mean, just small things, and it really meant a lot. And he just did not know how to say that. We were in a household that had no love. We never said "I love you" to my mom or dad. We never had that. It was a handshake. It was a handshake, and it was a side hug and one kiss on my mom's cheek, and that was it. That was not we didn't say any of that stuff. So it was very hard for me to see all that stuff. I mean, before he passed, he said, "I love you, son."
Oh,
But it was
wow.
just like one "I love you" for all the years that I've been alive, and it was really hard. And I kind of held on to that. And there's still days I could be working and I'll break down in tears listening to some
Yeah.
music or something, and it's I wish I had more time. And that's where you try to measure that in your own life now and with my kids. And I'm like, okay, so I'm a strict parent. I put myself under that as a strict parent. And I wish, like how I think now, it's like there's some moments that you can make with your child and say, okay, I have to be strict in this point, but I also have to tell you, wow, awesome job. And I even not knowing how to do that, I especially with my daughter, and say, wow, I mean, she is very intelligent, and just to see like, wow, you're doing that. I could never do that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And then just maybe I know those words will sneak by the toughness of me being a father, and she'll remember those moments. Like, oh, I like that song. Oh, I really like your hair like that. Because I think one of the biggest things for me, it was hard, is my daughter wearing makeup, growing into a woman. It was like, oh, mind blowing. It's like, if I couldn't say I did you're beautiful, because I was so scared that, like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you're gonna disappear on me. I was like, what happened to my little tomboy? That we used to throw the ball around? What's going on that?
Right.
And it's like I was too busy trying to protect her and be this tower in her life where every boy will see me. I'm a big man, and I wanted to make sure that my daughter never ever fell into any bad things that we've seen, and different people's lives. Being in the class and talking about trafficking stuff with ladies, and it's like how easy it is to get taken away from your family.
Oh, yeah.
And my daughter's probably paranoid, and she's like, my dad taught me how to do this, and what to do, and scream, and all these things, and it's I just hope that my cry out to say I love you here and there outweighs the, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Are you doing this? Don't do this. Don't touch that. It'll be heard over the ruling, and I guess you would say the dictatoring,
Yeah.
or pointing the finger, and because I see a lot of parenting now that people are, oh, just let my child be a child, and let them do this, and let them be more free. But then I see, as they're getting older, that they're not able to get control of that child now.
Oh,
Now, with the ruling of, like, you look in the Bible, that what we're supposed to do, it's getting too late. You're not going to be able to get that training back. But there's a happy medium where we have to understand that they need just as much love as correction. And I did not have that in the beginning. I didn't have it for myself, and I can admit that, even though it's really difficult, because I'm a person that I don't want to think I'm wrong, but seeing their face, it's like, I want to talk to mom, and I don't want to talk to dad, or whatever it may be, and it's like, I don't want to lose that connection with my child, and I don't want to be that 78 years old looking for my daughter or my son and saying, can we make up time
yeah.
when I have time now? And I don't want to lose that, because
Absolutely.
me and my wife both went through multiple surgeries, different things, procedures that I know my kids will know, because of this. It was a lot of suffering and pain to get back up. But our faith, just like when the pandemic came, I mean, I've had ankle reconstruction. I've had multiple surgeries, and I thought, when the doctor said you're not going to be able to get up, and you're going to be in a wheelchair, or you're going to be on crutches, and you're going to be on disability, he's speaking all this stuff on me, but he didn't realize how hungry I was for the Lord.
Woo.
And at that moment, I told him, I said, you know what? my wife, first thing she said, it was like, I don't know how we're going to pay these bills. And I went through weeks and weeks of what can we save money? Cut the TV, cut
Yes.
this, freeze this. We're only one driver now. Freeze the, like all these different things we could do to save money. And one paycheck was enough to make it through the whole thing. That my work had no benefits for me. There was no I never got that extra insurance that paid you while you're disabled.
Mm-hmm.
I was out for 2 years.
Wow.
With no pay. But I was thankful that he still gave me my insurance. He still gave me the insurance to get all my procedures done. And this is when people lose faith in God, is when one bad thing happens to another bad thing. As soon as that happened, that I got through that, my wife got into some more sickness. She's dealing with some more sickness and barely able to get through work and things. And then I get myself better and I'm walking and I just force myself like full send. I'm going straight to work again. I'm not even going to think of the pain. I'm going to go through it. I get another injury.
Oh.
I tore my knee out for 2 months, and then I'm better again. And my wife is like, again, I came home. She got a call from the hospital, and I was at work, and I got a massive hernia.
Wow.
In my umbilical, came out the size of a baseball, and I had to have surgery. And you think, and you're like, wow, you probably don't believe in God now. No, I believe even more. I cannot be shaking on my faith anymore because I know where I came from. And God doesn't put people through tests for nothing. And just like you had no mistake on being where you were supposed to be with your father, even not being with him for that time. He made a point. I'm going to slow this man up. I'm going to make time for you guys. I'm going to let you have time. It doesn't matter if it's 2 days. I'm going to let you guys catch up. I'm going to let you, pray on each other and talk to each other and put healing on each other before that time is over. And I was so thankful for that with my dad. And I think when people say they're wealthy, I'm rich. Because I have the ability for these moments that I told you and still moving and still going. And we're so far from being rich, but in worldly things. But in the Lord's, we're in the kingdom, we're growing.
Wow.
We might be at, I don't know what level we would have put, what it's at, but we're moving to keep moving up in the kingdom because we want the best view. We want to be able to be in a place. That's why we have this class, why we're going to be ministering to every forum we can get into and helping, with Relentless, we help with a lot of people that aren't able to get to food pantries.
Yeah.
Elderly. A lady, she had type 2 diabetes and she wasn't able to walk. She had like begging her neighbors to give her food. And somehow she got onto a board that we were able to see that she needed something all the way across town, past the strip, away from our house. And we got to her doorstep because God made it happen.
We've been there, so we understand.
So we know how, imagine what you have to eat when you have I had no paycheck come in. My wife was like a gourmet chef, making beans and rice taste like steak, whatever it took, and I'm just very thankful. And then being able to talk to you, and it was no accident.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Seeds of Transformation podcast with Dr. Allma Johnson. Coming up real soon, we will continue our conversation and topic, Bridging the Gap, a history of disconnect, with the founders of Relentless, Daryll and Nancy Swanson. But before you go, take a moment to share your thoughts with a 5-star review and connect with me on social media. Listen, your feedback fuels growth. So, until next time, stay inspired and keep growing in all things of God.